Wow. Just wow.
Wow.
Wow. That actually occurred. We really saw that. It really happened. Yeah. So I guess we should introduce ourselves again. Dustin DePirac here, columnist Ryan Carchi. This team just continues somehow, some way, to keep going, to win just incredible games. And this one is almost on the level of Kentucky as just absolutely wild. Just totally, I'm just shocked to see just how it ended. Not that they won, I expected them to win going in, but from down 9 and from where they were playing, from how tough it was for them to get by Virginia Commonwealth, not just their full court press, probably less their full court press than their half court pressure. They just come up with just a couple of just monster plays down the stretch, pull this one out 63-61, and they're going to Atlanta to play Kentucky.
In the Sweet 16.
It's
First
Sweet
time
16
in a
team.
decade.
Yeah.
Anyway, that last minute and a half, I mean, I don't think we've seen that all season long. I mean, I think it was over 7 minutes, they had only scored 1 point. It was a free throw from Cody Zeller.
Mm-hmm.
All the way up until that drought lasted till about 3.5 minutes left, and then in the last 90 seconds they scored 8 points.
Yeah, and huge ones.
Victor Oladipo driving to his left. I mean,
off a miss. I mean, and Tom Crean made a point about this. Like, he didn't call a timeout off of VCU miss. I mean, I think it was Theus that took a shot. I could be wrong. Actually, Daniels missed a 3. Victor grabs the ball, weak side rebound, takes it down the right sideline, and just keeps going. Just basically keeps going. Comes up. I mean, I think he had to give the ball to Holes, and then he got it back. Just went around a ball screen, down the left side, gets fouled. Hits a huge free throw. I mean, I think there was even a timeout.
A 62% free throw shooter last season, with the biggest free throw of Indiana's entire season, drills it.
Yeah, just knocks it down. Come down, make another defensive stop. I can't even remember who missed that one.
No.
I know, that was the one that actually Oladipo actually rebounded, was that one. He brings it down, tries to go all the way, gets blocked right into the hands of Will Shea, who's standing, just baseline, apparently was actually smiling because he was that open. There was just nobody near him because everybody had been drawn in.
Mid-range,
by the
just
drive.
like he likes it.
Yeah, exactly. Like right in his wheelhouse, and just drills that one. Next play, VCU calls a timeout. Almost was disastrous. Almost was a complete disaster. They, drove on him, found Rob Brandenburg pretty wide open on the left wing. Got a good look. Oladipo contested. Just went out and contested a little bit, but that thing was in the air forever. It hits the front of the rim, then sits.
We thought it was
from
gonna
our
bounce.
angle at least. I don't know if you guys got a different one from the TV, but it was just hanging on top of the hoop. Like if gravity just decided it wanted to, puts VCU in the in the Sweet 16. But it, caromed over. Remy Abel grabs the rebound, and that's your ball game. It was just complete madness, and I guess the biggest thing, again, just shows kind of the resolve of this team that. On a day where just a lot was not going well. I mean, if you went in this game and you said, all right, like everyone was thinking, okay, how are they going to do against the press? How are they going to do against the ball pressure? If you went in this game and said they're going to commit 23 turnovers, you're like, well, there's the key to your ball game. You're done.
Yeah, the college basketball gods are clearly on Indiana's side this season. I mean, they're just the droughts that they went through. The trap was just hurting them so badly at half court.
Yeah.
Jordan Hulls.
5 turnovers.
Was bad by all. I mean,
he had a rough day.
By all
he had a rough day.
5 turnovers. Some of them were pretty bad. I mean, he hit in those 5 points that he hit came in the first 5 minutes of the game.
No, it was tough. I mean, and the thing about it is that you got to give just credit to VCU for that. I mean,
absolutely.
It's truly impressive just how good of a press. Not even how the press even so much. Like I said, the press was pretty good. What they did remarkably well, they pretty much double teamed off of every single ball screen. And that's really what drove Hulls just completely crazy. Was just every single ball screen, he was then dealing with both guys. Were just running after him. They're big, long dudes. He couldn't really see around anything. He had to force a bunch of passes. It was just, I mean, it's a tough.
It's not a game. Not a game built for Jordy.
No, I mean there are situations where he can beat that sometimes, but they just it just smothered him. Was the best way.
They smothered everyone. 22
they smothered
turnovers.
Everyone. But really, they truly got after Hulls, and anybody who tried to take the ball off a ball screen just really got attacked. Just absolutely smothered. And Indiana was able. The fact that they were able to just kind of keep their heads for that, and just, I mean, defensively on the other end, because of what VCU did, because of how many turnovers they created, you give them a lot of credit. But Indiana, basically, I mean, in a more conventional kind of half-court sense of the word, defended exceptionally well.
Definitely.
I thought. And kept VCU to a lot of droughts themselves. I mean, VCU got a lot of threes early.
I mean, I think they
various other points in the game, but kept getting after it.
I think they opened up with 7 threes. I don't know if it was 7 threes in the first half or 5 threes. They were shooting a pretty good percentage from downtown in the first half, and they ended up 9 of 30. I mean, that's Shaka Smart said that's more threes than they would normally take, but they were open. So they were taking them. So, but those threes fall, and this is a completely different game. But they didn't. Yeah. I mean, Indiana did. Their defense was lacking a little bit on the perimeter, especially at times. But they really locked up in the half court.
Yeah.
In those final few minutes when it really mattered most, and it's something we've seen out of Indiana plenty this season. I mean, that Crean apparently brought up with them that. He brought up the NC State win.
Yeah, that was one of the big speeches with like 6 minutes left or something like that, down 6.
Yeah. They're down 6 in that game, and they just kind of keep their head, and just remaining calm in that situation, it gave them the confidence that they needed to beat NC State and that they needed to beat VCU in this game. So.
I hadn't even realized that. I just looked at the Bucks right there, and I didn't have this in my game story because I didn't even realize it. They won the rebounding battle 36-23. Yeah. I hadn't quite realized that how big of. I mean, that was huge. I mean, basically, that they were able to get so many stops because they were the ones on the defensive boards. Came down with some huge ones, but and I think that made a huge difference. They were able to get some stops, and VCU was never able to take it so far away that they couldn't come back and get it. For everything that was going wrong, they were able to keep just within striking distance. And I mean, it didn't seem like that was going to be enough for a long time. You get down to about a minute and a half, and they're still down, 6 or 7. It's like you got to get a couple big possessions here. You got to get some big stops and hit some huge, humongous shots. And is there enough time left? And they got it. I mean, again, despite all that, despite everything that they were struggling through, kept their heads.
We've gone this far without even talking about Cody Zeller,
who was an animal.
Who was pretty quiet offensively for a long stretch, but at the end, kind of what I found most interesting. I mean, we're talking about a freshman, and Christian Wofford said plainly after the game, Cody Zeller is not a freshman.
Yeah.
They give it to him on 3 straight possessions, and he just drives it. I mean, it was as confident as I have seen Cody Zeller all season long.
Yeah.
They put it in the hands of their best player, and he drew a huge foul that got into the line. And then after that, I mean, you have Oladipo, and then you have Sheehy, and then it's all. And he had 13 rebounds.
Yeah, and Zeller had, and that's the thing, he was the best in the glass. But and the thing is, he had his weak moments earlier. I mean, there was a couple occasions where he really struggled to get the ball in there, was getting blocked, was getting beat up a little bit, really on both sides of the floor. And you just saw him dig a little bit deeper, just find another gear in those last few minutes, and like those possessions where he was able to just take it, sort of high post, and then drive it at people and force them to foul him or get a bucket. And I mean, it was another continuation of his constant maturations, constant improvement. And he just found there was just another step that he took tonight, and he just keeps doing that.
So now, mighty Kentucky awaits the rematch that the entire country will be watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting, and there's gonna be so much hype, so much incredible amount of hype. And it's been funny because since that game, I mean, there's just been this back and forth kind of tweaking between Calipari and Tom Crean, and obviously these fan bases don't particularly like each other. And so there have been all this kind of back and forth. Kentucky guys saying what was a lucky shot, and I think Tom tweeted, and then he addressed it again today about how every time I see it, it still goes in. Every time you see that, replay, not only the replay but the ESPN iPhone app commercial or whatever that every time that goes down, Riddell Jones still makes a nice pass, Watford still rises up, follows through, and hits it. And those guys are going to spend all week going at it. Basically, I mean, Twitter will blow up just between the two of them, and then between basically everybody else. So it's going to be wild. But I mean, Kentucky's going to want that one bad, but Indiana obviously comes in with some degree of confidence, believing they can do something, and also wanted to prove that it wasn't a fluke in the first place.
It's going to be impossible odds. They're going to be doubted by every single media member across the country. This is not. I will be shocked if you see one person confidently pick Indiana in this game that is not, an Indiana fan or around
Yeah.
Indiana
Mhm.
every day. I mean, this
Yeah.
it's. But I mean, I asked them this in the post game, and this is kind of what they said is like, why not? Why
Yeah.
why wouldn't we be able to overcome more doubt? I mean, at this point, we both
Yeah.
of us have had our share of doubts about this team, and Dustin said it before. This team has no ceiling and no floor.
Yeah.
And who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
this.
No, there's no reason to believe they can't. I mean, they've done it. I mean, there's no like now. Obviously, Kentucky's an amazing
odds are
group
stacked
of athletes.
against them.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna be they're definitely gonna be big underdogs, significant underdogs. But I mean, they've done it once, and I think there's obviously something to that. They're gonna come in and they're really starting to play up the last couple weeks. We didn't hear this before, but like the last couple weeks, they're really playing the nobody believes in us card.
Yes,
they're loving that, absolutely loving that. From the moment Seth Davis, like you almost wonder if Tom is paying Seth Davis off to just pick against him every single time.
He thanked him.
He
in
actually
his
thanked him
postseason-
in his post game. But I mean, they're really starting to thrive off of that. It's been weird because they were kind of media darlings in the first half, and all of a sudden they get picked against, and now they're like, nobody believes us, nobody likes us, everybody wants us to lose. Probably overdoing it, but I mean, they are getting doubted, and they are proving doubters wrong. I mean, they've been doing it all year, and yeah, I mean, they get another chance to do it against the number one team in the country.
And they'll be doubted again in Atlanta.
Two quick things. We're going to send this one out to Osterman because I think this means he gets to go. He didn't get to come on this one, which was a shame, but I think he gets to go. Also, congrats to Chris Corman. Got engaged this weekend. Thanks, guys.
Congrats, Chris.